Good evening, traders. This is the tradesight roadmap for the week for Forex traders to begin the week starting February 4th and going into February 9th. Hope you're having a good 2013 so far. We are now officially into February. Here's a look at the dollar index daily chart on the right side of your screen. We've been watching this head and shoulders or inverted cup and handle formation that's lined up against this blue trend line that goes back a ways, and we've kind of breached it the last few days here, so that puts the lows of the last 8 months potentially in play, and a break under that would be very hazardous. We are 7 bars down now after today on the after Friday on the dollar index, so get that 9, maybe we'll get a little break here, but so far this is not a positive. I don't see how, if we break the lows especially under that 78.50 area, so I don't see how the market's just going to hold that without much thought. Before I get to some of the economic data and how this week is going to play out, I wanted to show you a couple of charts real quick on the Forex pairs. Here's the daily chart of the pound yen. I should point out that we had a 13 sell signal on the pound yen. The euro yen had one a couple of days ago and kept going higher. The dollar yen already had one, but now all 3 of the main yen-based pairs have had 13 signals, so that's something to keep an eye on. Also, if you look at the New Zealand dollar pair, I think you'll notice that we've got a nice, ignoring any counts, this is just a cup and handle breakout. It's interesting to see this forming when the Aussie's not doing the same thing, but potential cup and handle breakout over that point. So a couple pairs to watch. In terms of anything else, like our main usual pairs, I don't know that there's anything significant on the daily charts. The euro's on a run, obviously, having busted right through that secret count and risk line this week pretty quickly, and we know that when that happens, that pink line, when that breaks quickly, and I would call that quickly, a lot of times that leads to a much bigger move right away, so that's hurting the dollar. Flip side is the pound's the exact opposite, and maybe this is one of the few things left holding the dollar up. The pound took a beating this last month and again on Friday, and that's means in favor of the dollar. So I think if it weren't for the pound, the dollar would be maybe a little bit worse off here. It certainly doesn't bode well that the dollar might be topping out against the yen. So anyways, let's take a look at the economic data as we always do coming into the new week. We'll start with the U.S. side, and then we will roll to the global side. And again, for the U.S. side, here's a look at it. Not too much this next week. We had some big stuff the last week or two, including a Fed meeting, the NFP data, the GDP for Q4. So here we are on Monday, factory orders, not a big deal. Tuesday we've got ISM services, not a huge deal for Forex. Wednesday, mortgage index, crude oil inventories. Thursday is your weekly initial and continuing jobless claims, consumer credit. Again, none of that's big. Friday is one of our big 3. It's trade balance. So we will be half size Friday ahead of the key trade balance number here in the U.S. So that's kind of the main focal point in terms of U.S. data that we'll be watching. Meanwhile, you can look now at the global data. We'll start here at the top of the week, as we always do in Forex. So Sunday, a bank holiday out of Australia, CSPI out of Japan. Nothing major here, all the way through the minor U.S. durable goods order data. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm looking at, I keep forgetting to go forward a week, first of all. That was last week. My apologies. Sunday, monetary base out of Japan. I knew that data sounded familiar. Australian building approvals, again, nothing there. Going into Monday, Spanish unemployment, construction out of UK, PPI out of Europe, not a big deal. There's your factory orders out of the US. Labor cost index out of New Zealand, AIG services index out of Australia, trade balance, HPI, and a rate announcement out of Australia all Monday evening here in the US. Trade balance out of Switzerland going into Tuesday, some services PMI data out of various countries, and the broad European and UK one. Retail sales out of Europe, Fed members speaking, US data that we already looked at. Bank holiday out of New Zealand going into Wednesday. Australia's got their retail sales. Europe's got German factory orders. Canada's got IV PMI. That's Wednesday morning early. Wednesday, nothing until Wednesday evening. Unemployment rate out of New Zealand. AIG construction index out of Australia. Core machinery orders out of Japan. You've got the unemployment data out of Australia. Heading into Thursday, leading indicators out of Japan. French trade balance. UK's trade balance, manufacturing production, industrial production. That's a lot of data at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time Thursday morning, but not really something that we're going to slow But we've got rate announcements. Sorry, out of both the Bank of Europe and the Bank of England, the ECB and the Bank of England, both announcing early on the U.S. hours on Thursday. So rate announcements there. German industrial production right before it. Some data out of Canada, and then all the U.S. data we already talked about for Thursday leads us to current account out of Japan and bank lending out of Japan Thursday evening. Trade balance out of China. Economy watch or sentiment out of Japan. CPI and PPI out of China Friday. Unemployment out of Switzerland. Trade balance out of Germany. Budget balance out of France. Retail sales out of Switzerland. Italian industrial production out of broad Europe. Trade balance unemployment and unemployment change out of Canada right at the same time as our trade balance. Again, that's the big one for us. We'll be half size going into that. Sometimes you go half size if you get these rate announcements on Thursday morning out of Europe, but I'll probably stay full size for that, half size for the other. Hasn't been overly impressive yet this year for the Forex stuff. There was that first week was obviously a holiday, but that second week we got a big winner, and I thought, wow, we're back to normal, and then it just hasn't materialized much, although we did close out with a nice winner on Thursday going into Friday for the end of the month. So that's the roadmap for the week as we see it here at TradeSight. For Forex traders, have a great trading week.